Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining me today for 15 minutes of quilting time. If you don't know why I have 15 minutes of quilting time, there are so many reasons, and I might share a few of them with you today. But isn't this cute? My daughter got this for me. And today I'm going to work on getting this little tiny table topper quilted. It's actually a mini version of a quilt that I had made for charity based off of my stone garden pattern. And I had some leftovers and I put it together and I'm so excited. I just think it's cute. Of course, I haven't planned on how I actually want to quilt it yet. I think it's going to be really simple because it's not that important. It's just a table topper. Anywho, 15 minutes of quilting. I know for some people, they don't have a lot of time right now. They've got jobs and families and animals and church commitments and all sorts of things. And a lot of people, women, but also men, they tend to not really take time for themselves. So sometimes it's really good if you just set 15 minutes aside that's just for you and your enjoyment, whether it be quilting or journaling or scrapbooking or cross-stitching, whatever it is. Just to set that time aside just for you. And I know that for me in particular, even though I do have a crazy hectic schedule, that's not usually what I use my 15 minutes of quilting for. It's usually more along the lines of I have a big project and I am overwhelmed by it. And if I can just sort of talk myself into saying, oh, well, you only have to work on it 15 minutes. You only have to get 15 minutes worth of work done. It kind of gets me over that hump. I can get out there and get some stuff taken care of. And more often than not, I will spend more than 15 minutes. I just need to psych myself up to face it. Not always. I mean, some projects are easy and fun, but I really do tend to try to challenge myself a lot of the time. I mean, whenever I make quilts for my kids, I more often than not design those, and I usually try to come up with something that has a technique or an element that I'm not used to or that I'm kind of afraid to do. The last one that I did for my son, it had a ton of inset seams. It was a diamond pattern, and I was so nervous about it. And it wasn't difficult. I was just nervous, really, really nervous, and it took me forever to get the courage up to just sit down and do it. And then once I did, it was all fine. But what started the whole 15-minute concept was, oh my goodness, this was at least 15 years ago. Not quite 20, but at least 15. There was a wonderful website where a lady had come up with a Bible block mystery that I had been doing and teaching at my church. And she also had a much smaller mystery for a table runner. And it was supposed to be something that you do at Christmas time before Christmas so that you could have it to use. That was really kind of just for yourself, because we tend to get so overwhelmed with doing for others, making things for others and buying for others and wrapping for others and decorating for others and cooking for others. And that's all great, but sometimes we need to do a little bit for ourselves. And the concept was kind of like, well, you're only going to spend maximum 15 minutes a day getting this done. And, there were days when it was only like 5 minutes. And I don't even think it might have only been about 10 days. It was not a very long process at all. And then before Christmas, I had this table runner, this mystery table runner. You know, some days we would cut, some days we would sew, but it was just a very small amount of time. And then we had this completed table runner. And I was just amazed at that, because I tend to think if I don't have time to get a huge amount done or an entire step of something done, then why bother? I don't know where that concept came from, but I've since talked to so many other quilters, and they're just like, yeah, that's a really huge project. I don't have time to get that done. But this was more of a, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time concept. And it really changed the way that I approached quilting. And so if we can get 15 minutes of quilting done a day, or even a week for some of us, it's just crazy. If we can just do that, it's kind of amazing what we can accomplish. I'm not quilting alone here today, other than you guys. My son is here keeping me company, as he often does. My husband is here.
Hello.
That would be him. And I appreciate that I have them here, especially because I homeschooled my kids. And my son graduated last year. And I had been making plans for a really long time that once the homeschooling process was done, that I was going to be able to go spend time with other quilters. Well, the world kind of went pear-shaped, and I am not spending any time in any quilting groups at all. I don't feel safe about doing so. And I don't mind so much being quarantined to the house, but I really miss quilting with others. And some of my favorite quilters who used to have online quilting time, Bonnie Hunter and the ladies from The Stitch, oh my goodness. I had so much fun just watching their YouTube shows and feeling like I was having quilt time with somebody. And they just have, well, the Stitch ladies, they're done all together. And Bonnie Hunter hasn't posted anything in a really, really, really long time of that nature. And I miss that. I miss that community that you get when you have fellow quilters around. So I decided, okay, well, maybe I will just start the community. So I'm going to try to spend several days a week, 15 minutes at a time, quilting with you guys. And I really hope that you join me and that you will share what you're working on. Doesn't matter how much or how little you get accomplished. I don't even care if you cut one tiny little scrap of fabric. If that's what you manage to do that day, it's a step in the right direction, and I'll be super proud of you. Actually, Gentry, would you like to show everyone that table runner that got the 15-minute quilt started? It's the Christmas one that we always put on the coffee table. Now, be kind to me, guys. This was before I knew a whole lot about color value. And to be perfectly honest, I didn't even pick out the fabrics. So I let a friend at the time, since it was a mystery quilt anyway, I said, well, you just pick out whatever you think will look nice. There we go. And it's not the worst. It's not the worst. But, and the pattern is really cute. But isn't this great? 15 minutes or less a day before Christmas, when you're in the middle of everything else. I will look and see if I can find that website. I don't think it's still around anymore, but I will look at it again and see if I can link it in case any of you want to make that pattern. Just so exciting. So exciting. Now, Okay, I've done a little bit of quilting. You could probably see it a little bit better from the back. Yeah, there you go. I'm just going to do some crosshatch on this. I think that that'll be okay. I do think so. Now I don't know. Now I'm doubting myself. What are you working on today? Please tell me. Please tell me in the comments that you're working on something fun. Show me pictures. Oh, actually, in addition to posting in the comments, if you go to my Facebook group, 15-Minute Quilting, I can see all your pictures and stuff there. And you can leave comments, and that'll be fun. We can kind of appreciate each other's work. And I definitely appreciate looking at what other quilters do. Sometimes I confess, I go onto Facebook for about 5 seconds to check on something important. 20 minutes go by. I'm still there looking at everybody else's quilts. I am. Oh. So Gentry, are you ever going to become a quilter?
No.
And why not?
It's not my forte.
No. Gentry doesn't like pinning. He doesn't like pins and he doesn't like needles. And that's his main issue. He does, on the other hand, appreciate my sewing machine. My husband, on the other hand, has tried quilting. We really enjoy spending time together, and I was going to go on a retreat, and he wanted to go with. And I said, okay, but you have to actually quilt while you're at a quilting retreat. He wrote a fun little article about how quilting is not for wimps. But he actually did a pretty good job. He really did. I was impressed with it. And maybe one of these days he will finish the quilt he started, and I'll be happy to show you guys. Or maybe one of these days, if you really encourage him, we can get him to do the 15 minutes with us. That would be fun. What do you think, David?
You hold your breath. Let's see.
Who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. And I won't be working on the same thing all the time, because that bores me. It really does. I have to work on numerous things at a time. Does anybody else like to do that? I have some friends who, they will start one project and that is the only thing that they will work on until it is completely finished. And I really, really admire that. I'm not capable of it. Well, I shouldn't say I'm not capable. I don't want to do that because I get bored. But I do know there are tons of people that are like that. And I really, really, really admire it. There's a new friend of mine here in Helena, where we live now. We moved about 1.5 years ago. And that woman accomplishes so much all the time. It's amazing. She must have quilting, and quilting fast must be like her superhero power. It is amazing. I don't know how she does it. I'm slow. I'm slow at piecing, I'm slow at quilting. I'm a huge pinner. So right there, that takes up a lot of time. And if I don't think that something looks just so, I will take it out over and over again until I can get it just the way that I want it. And because of that, I accomplish a lot less than the average person, I'm sure. I will probably this week work on my 11 February quilt. And you will get to find out all about that when I come back. See you in a couple days. Bye.